Hello friends, I'm Movie Hanger, and this is an erotic thriller titled Miller's Girl with Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman in lead roles. Cairo Sweet is an 18-year-old high school student who lives alone in her family's mansion in Tennessee. Cairo's parents are successful lawyers, so they are rarely at home, providing their daughter with everything she needs. Cairo considers herself an unremarkable high school student, as she hasn't done anything special in her life. One ordinary morning becomes special for her when a creative writing teacher named Jonathan Miller appears at school. He is known for writing several books. Walking to school along a path through dense woods, Cairo arrives early for class to meet the teacher alone. From the first moments, Cairo impresses Jonathan with her extensive knowledge of literature and extraordinary wisdom for her age. The teacher asks her to read a specific list of books, but as it turns out, she has already read all the works he mentioned. Winnie is Cairo's frivolous friend who interrupts the conversation between the teacher and the schoolgirl, suggesting they grab a snack before class starts. Meanwhile, Boris Fillmore, the physical education teacher, and, incidentally, his best friend, enters Jonathan's office. Noticing textbooks on the first desk, Boris finds Henry Miller's erotic novels and quotes some lines, making Jonathan blush.
Marcel wants me to fuck her.
Among other books, he finds drafts that the teacher wrote before he abandoned his creative work. Upon returning home, Jonathan offers his wife a drink, but she is too busy. Beatrice, unlike her husband, has become a successful author, thus neglecting her spouse and leisure time with him. Under the pressure of a romantic atmosphere, Jonathan manages to invite his wife to dance, but attempts to make love are interrupted by a phone call, which Beatrice cannot ignore. The next morning, the teachers have breakfast with donuts and coffee, discussing their minor problems. At some point, they notice Cairo coming out of the dense forest, which looks somewhat ominous. Jonathan worries that such a path might be unsafe, but the schoolgirl warns him that the most dangerous thing here is herself. While the teacher and Cairo are left alone, Winnie drops books on the floor to catch Boris's attention. She does not hide her interest in the man and would happily make love with him. Kara is shocked by her friend's behavior, but Winnie is convinced that it is better to do such things to an experienced man rather than one of the pimply schoolboys. In the evening, a girl is trying to write an essay on the topic of the greatest achievement to date for admission to Yale University. However, she can't find anything worthy to write about. Her friend suggests experiencing the thrill of a teacher-student romance, as it excites and makes one feel something new. Cairo is skeptical about Winnie's opinion, but the friend manages to convince Cairo to fall in love with Jonathan. Over the next lessons, the girl closely observes the teacher and realizes that she indeed likes him. She is ready to ignore the age difference and the fact that Jonathan is married because she feels easy and interested around him. After classes, Cairo visits the teacher's office to talk about literature. During the dialogue, it becomes clear that they share common interests in novels, poems, and Tennessee culture. The girl thought her town was boring, but the teacher suggests visiting the Victorian village, where literature fans gather on weekends, quoting lines from their favorite novels. In the evening, the married couple and the physical education teacher go to the nearest bar to relax a bit. During the dialogue, Beatrice reminds her husband that he is a loser who has no ambition to write a book. On the weekend, Cairo goes to the house where novel enthusiasts gather, hoping that Jonathan will be there. Soon, the teacher appears at the meeting and sits next to the girl to listen to the next piece from one of the guests. The student feels good next to the man because he seems very interesting to her. A bit later, the pair go out to the terrace to smoke and continue to get closer, spending more and more time together. The next morning, Cairo treats the teachers to coffee and suggests to Boris to start selling donuts, as they are too delicious. She promises to help with the distribution and involves Vinny to draw the company's logo. Beatrice tells her husband that she's tired of work and suggests going on a picnic outside the city on the weekend. Soon, Cairo visits Jonathan and openly flirts with the man, but he doesn't take it seriously. Jonathan assigns the girl to write a story in the style of her favorite author, and she chooses Henry Miller. The teacher is skeptical about the author of erotic novels because of his provocative writing style, but Cairo convinces him of her ability to do something special. Having no time for arguments, Jonathan approves the girl's choice and leaves the office. Winnie mocks Cairo's attempts to seduce the teacher, as it looked ridiculous. Meeting the physical education teacher, the girl promises to help with the logo for the donut company and asks for his mobile phone to coordinate all the project details. Winnie provokes the teacher into taking action and hides his phone in her bra, but Boris does not succumb to the provocations. At the same time, Cairo notices that she has lost her mobile phone and realizes that Jonathan has accidentally taken it with him. The married couple was planning to go out of town, but Beatrice is busy with phone calls from a client. client. Realizing that their plans are ruined, the teacher heads to his student's house. On the way, a heavy rain starts, and Cairo appears on the doorstep in a sexy dress. The romantic atmosphere makes Jonathan succumb to temptation, and the couple kisses in the rain. Inspired by what happened, Cairo writes a story about the relationship between a teacher and his student. The girl sends her work to Jonathan, hoping he will understand that the main characters in this story are not random, but he and his beloved girl. After arguing with his wife, the teacher goes to the barn, where he reads Cairo's story and experiences something special. Imagining everything written, he fantasizes about the girl and beating his meat. The next morning, Cairo rushes to meet with the teacher to get feedback on her work. Jonathan states that the story is unacceptable and demands to rewrite the story. The girl refuses to change anything, having written the text sincerely sharing her intimate fantasies and desires. Jonathan promises to give her a bad grade and not allow her to take the exam, which causes her to lose control. Cairo accuses the teacher of cowardice and hypocrisy. Taking her work, the disappointed girl leaves the school, after throwing the story into the mailbox of the deputy principal. In the evening, Jonathan comes home and tells his wife about what happened. The woman reads the Cairo's story and finds it sexual and exciting. She would like to make love with her husband, but the romantic moment is spoiled by the arrival of a guest, Boris. Meanwhile, Winnie and Cairo cry and drink, feeling like unwanted girls. Winnie sends erotic messages to Boris, but he ignores them. Cairo is hurt by the men's indifference, and she suggests to her friend to have some fun. The girls undress and kiss, then take a candid photo and send it to Boris. Soon, the deputy principal of the school calls Jonathan and invites him for a talk because of the story received from Cairo. The man shares the problem with his wife, but she promises to create a scandal if the rest believe the deception of the offended schoolgirl. The next morning, the deputy principal questions Cairo and Jonathan separately about their relationship. The man asserts that there was nothing inappropriate between them, as he always remained a teacher. The girl tells her version of the events and embellishes it a bit, as a result of which Jonathan cannot defend or justify himself. The man takes full responsibility for the situation, leading to his suspension from duty. A friend does not support the literature teacher because he believes that he crossed the line. Boris also flirted with Winnie, but, unlike Jonathan, he knows the limits of what is permissible and does not cross the boundaries. The physical education teacher deleted the candid photo and avoids Winnie, understanding that this is innocent infatuation that will lead to nothing. Returning home, Jonathan tries to explain himself to his wife and proves that he did not share a bed with Cairo. However, Beatrice does not believe him. The couple argues, as a result of which, the wife promises to file for divorce and does not want to see her husband. Jonathan also expresses his dissatisfaction and vents his suppressed anger. Realizing where her friend's actions have led, Winnie asks her to drop the charges against the teacher. The girl is ready to stand against her and tell the truth, but Cairo categorically refuses and threatens to expose her friend's flirtation with Boris to the school principal. Cairo calls the destruction of Jonathan's life her greatest achievement and writes an essay about it. To write the text, the girl uses the same style as the teacher in his book. She proudly reads the essay to her friend, revealing herself as a cruel person. Meanwhile, Jonathan, having hit rock bottom, finds inspiration for the first time in many years to write a new book. A few days later, the teacher and the schoolgirl notice each other and look into each other's eyes with tears. They understand that this was just a phase that changed their lives, so they look into the future with hope. This is where the movie ends. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like, and write your impressions of this movie. I would be interested to read them. Bye, everyone.